Welcome to the Koh Young booth here at Productronica. I'm delighted to be joined by Harold Eppinger, who is the Geschäftsführer, I think, for Koh Young in Europe. Nice to see you again, Harold.
Welcome on our booth. Okay. Nice to meet you again here.
Yeah. So, Harold, let's get a quick update on where we are with the machines, the ASPIre and your AOI system. You've got some recent improvements to them. Specifically, what have you done?
Okay, let's make simple. This market is driven by customers, and they all like to be quicker, more precise. And as we are driven by the market and the customers, we introduced this time on Productronica a new SPI system with a higher resolution and even higher throughput. That means we are covering smaller component sizes. Okay, Europe is a little bit slow in small sizes, but we have to cover other regions where even very small ones are already in process. And the logical consequences, if you have a quick and precise SPI, you have to have the same takt time in AOI, and the Zenith 2 delivers exactly the same philosophy, higher throughput and more improved resolution, of course, accuracy.
When you're talking smaller devices, I assume you're talking about 0201 metrics and this type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Smaller, and even in my age, I can hardly see the components anymore. So that's why we need the machines for this. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So we've got better resolution on the machines and with greater speed. How did you achieve that?
I think we have a very strong R&D. We have more than 190 people in R&D checking for capabilities, checking for solutions, and we really try to utilize our power in R&D to be ready for the market. And I think that's the power. It's new cameras, it's new technology, it's faster processing. I think it's a mixture of everything. You cannot just buy the cameras in the supermarket. You have to rely on core technology. And as we stay with one core technology, the more white line projection, the Moray, we utilize our experience and expertise in this, and this helps a lot.
So, I mean, you were literally one of the pioneers of SPI, and you've carried over that technology into 3D AOI as well. Yep. You're very much based on measurement technology.
Of course.
Why do you feel that you need to be measurement technology and, not using image-driven AOI?
It's very simple. Over the years, I think the whole market learned that image processing has some weak points. We don't have to discuss the weak points, but there are some weak points in stability, programming efforts, and the expertise to run a system. The measurement capability, the measurement result enables you a much easier discussion. A micron is a micron, you cannot negotiate. And when the technology delivers the measurement result and you can utilize this, it enables easier programming, transparency, reliable, less false codes. That's all the fact which customers are looking for. If you can manage this in an ease of use, that's the first step that you get a high acceptance. And if you reconsider the AOI, you mentioned Koh Young was the SPI innovator in 3D. Now we did the same about 5 years ago. And with 5 years, we delivered more than 2,000 systems to the market. And in the whole technology, we are above 11,000 now. It's a huge number of core technology utilization, utilizing really the expertise in our teams. And that's the part, and I think this is the good thing, to prepare for the future. Measurement-based results in a database.
And that's very important, and you have to have the capability to take it off of the systems, of course. So let's look a bit at the things that you're measuring and tolerances. We had a little discussion off camera about some of these things which are driven by standards, but these standards really, the tolerances are just not tight enough for the market.
I would say depends what kind of quality you would like to deliver to the market. So the IPC applies some rules, which is a reference for a lot of people, but the rules is now 20 or more years old. And I think the technology changes, the quality expectation changes, and let me say, the margin on production is changed.
Yeah, the geometries have changed. I mean, we were just talking about 0201.
I forgot this on top, so it makes everything more difficult. There's no room for failures. Catching a defect, which was the goal in the last 20 years, it's no longer valid. You are not able to repair because you cannot repair anymore. So this means you have to produce in a high-level standard, And what we realized by collecting all the data and analyzing the data, we should not collect data without analyzing, but we did analyzing the data and we found out that the tolerance is much smaller. Simple example, you have 25%, the average is maybe 5%. So why you should apply a tolerance of 25% when the process is already much more stable?
I mean, yeah, and a lot of them are 25%, but some are even up to 50%. But I mean, 5%, you think that this is the tolerance that you should be looking for?
It's related to the process, but on a simple example, we can check 1 million components are placed. This is the average tolerance over 1 million. And if this comes out with 5%, then you know the process is stable, it's rotation, it's offset, it's everything. You get a number and you know exactly the last million components is placed proper.
I see. You're talking about 5% per million defects.
This is the average off. And let me say, assume that the machine is proper maintained, the pick and place machine is serviced well, all this kind of thing. That's the best case. But you see immediately when you go to the maintenance that maybe the tolerance goes off. And then I mean,
but coming down to the pad sizes that you'll get in, say, something like IPC 610 standards, how much offset do you think should be allowable on these pads?
Oh, I'm not an expert in this. I don't like to give any comment on this because otherwise maybe we have to change the books. But no, I would say it's more the understanding how precise is your process already. Yeah, people question the process quality they have, but with the proper documentation, first of all, you believe that you're good and you can now prove how good you are. Yeah. Very often our customers are asked by their customer how you assure the quality, how you do this, and they have a golden board and they have to do this and this, and they show a lot of documents with a precise history of a port production or even a factory production. You say, look to the numbers, it's one line, it's flat, small tolerances we take care of. And this is also the add-on value that you are able to prove that you are stable and reliable manufacturer.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But I think, the way the industry is now, we're driving it down to the individual board level. We want to know what the performance was of that board and where it was manufactured and how it was placed, etc. So that if we do have a field recall in automotive, for example, which is one of the biggest growing areas, that we are going to be able to limit the number of recalls.
Of course, that's the consequences. It starts with the traceability and communication with MIS systems. Yeah, but on top, it's very important to see any change in the component and the material flow. That if we measure some obstacles, we can inform MES to dig into the details. And I raised several times this week during the show that partnering, cooperations between different companies in the production line is getting more important because this exchange will help us not to focus narrow-minded on the problem, to see the big picture and to act, I call it, profitable for all of us. And the partnering, and this is important, to merge the information and then to utilize not only our part of the contribution. As you have seen in our booth, we are cooperating with ECRA, with APM, MPM, and you see how it's already started machine-to-machine communication on one level and even on the upper level to improve the process. And I think this is the goal.
I think it is true. I mean, I think it's collaboration is key to driving the technology forward, but it's also going to expose machines a bit more.
Of course. Of course. I think it's very, very clear that we cannot control the processes anymore by human assumptions. So everything goes in precise measurement. You set up the machine and you trust. If the moment you question the machine performance, the whole concept is gone.
That is true. I mean, you have to trust the accuracy of the machine and everything. But then, when you take it a stage further into artificial intelligence interpreting this information,
it's clear. And let me say, we talked about data, and if you reconsider how much data we are grabbing from a single component, and you see immediately the big data is too much for humans. And therefore, Koh Young founded already 2 years ago in San Diego Artificial Intelligence Center, which is taking care now to utilize the amount of data to provide either instructions, what to focus on, not to close the loop and improve the process, just to help assist. Next step is the more. But in the moment, we try to find the influencers, to identify the influencer when this is happening. And all the aspects of this is based on the database, and a clever database analyzing the data and providing the operators the easy decision process. And of course it helps also us to adjust the machines, because one of the biggest invention is in the moment auto-programming. The system recognizes automatically the dimension, it checks in the database what is the average deviation, applies tolerances, and it reduces programming time drastically. That's.
I think the other thing that vendors and manufacturers should understand, though, is that this is not something that they should start looking at when they have the end solution to interpret the data. They should be collecting all of the data. You know, if you listen to Cisco and companies like that, they say collect all of the data, because you don't know what you're going to need in 5 years' time.
Let me say, it's a lot of data you have to grab.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we are talking about production. And production guys, and we all don't like data and analyzing data. So we have to support the tools to get the clear acceptance from the operators. Maybe on management level it's easy to convince, but we have to convince everybody in the production process to rely on the machine, on the result of data, and make sure that he understands it's less work for him. Because nobody would like to review Excel tables, numbers. That's the goal. Make it easy, on the spot, and support for a reliable decision to improve the process and to avoid the defect.
Well, I think it's an incredible journey you're on. I think you're doing absolutely the right thing, Harold. I think the roadblock is obviously in interpreting the data to make it into actionable results. Yep. I'm sure Koh Young's going to be ahead of the game.
I hope to see you soon next time, next booth. Yeah? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you.